Hello, my name is Niquana Smith. I am a Platinum 150 P600 loading, hopefully by tonight. I ain't playing. But anyways, basically, we have this foundational call, which is on support, resistance, and trend lines. And as I was explaining before this recording, but I forgot to record, so hello recording. Support and resistance is very important and comes in many forms as you go throughout your analysis process within learning how to trade within the foreign exchange market and becoming self-sufficient. So the example that I was giving was a Fibonacci. So everyone might not know what a Fibonacci is, but a Fibonacci is a tool that catches retracements, and it comes with these different lines at certain levels. And those levels can act as support and resistance. But today, the support and resistance that I will be teaching you is basically on a very basic, fundamental, foundational level. You know, okay, understanding what is a support, understanding what is a resistance. But we won't go too into detail in this training. We'll have an advanced training session later this week where we'll actually start doing a lot of different analysis. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. So give me 2 seconds and a hamburger or something, and let's get to it. So 1, 2. Shh, Ashley, oh wait, this is not even, see, you rushed me and I opened up the wrong thing. Share. All right, cool. We're going to hop on the Harmonic Scanner. So the first thing I want to introduce to you is one of the products. So first things first, how do you access your Harmonic Scanner? There is 2 ways. You can access it by harmonics.im, or you can go to im.center, log in, come to the left side, go to strategies, exit out of this, scroll down, go to harmonics, select this blue hyperlink, and it will bring you to this page here, your Harmonic Scanner. Now, the first thing that I want to go over is the support and resistance that the Harmonic Scanner calls or scans itself and formulates on its own. So when you log into your Harmonic Scanner, you may see these values, TP1 through TP3, an entry and a stop loss. It is important to understand that those values are actually prices for support and resistance. So I'm going to take a step back though, and I'm going to go over, okay, what is a support and what is a resistance? So when you are looking at your Academy videos, the way that they describe it is your support is the floor and your resistance is the ceiling. So we have, I'm gonna go ahead and just draw out something real quick. And I personally don't care for this color. So if we look here, you have these 2 horizontal lines, and they just look like 2 horizontal lines. But when you start to add, let's see, price action to it, something, you know, going on within the market, this is becoming a form of support and resistance. So what does that mean? Now, whoa, my chair is sinking, guys. I'm sorry if I'm getting shorter. So you'll see here that this right here is a support because of the many times that price respects it or rejects off of it. So a good support or a good resistance is when price respects that particular area or zone at least 3 or more times. So what does that mean? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to highlight. So you have here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can see in this example that price went up, came back down, tested the support. Went up, the little thing, little dance, came back down, tested support. It went up, started buying again, went down, tested the support again. Remember, your support is the floor and your resistance is the ceiling. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna actually put that. So floor, big, bold, and beautiful. I don't know if that made it bold or not. Okay. Oh, and then ceiling. Is that how to spell ceiling, guys? Okay, cool. And you have the ceiling. So let's put this here. So you have the floor and you have the ceiling. So you see where price has rejected or respected this zone right here 3 or more times. So what's important about support and resistance is that history repeats itself. If you see that support and resistance is already respecting this area 3 or more times here, it's likely that when you continue to look in previous times that which price has already happened, it is still respecting that same area, which means that when you're making predictions and you're doing an analysis, you can be kind of aware that, okay, price is likely to respect this same area again. Drop a 1 in the chat if what I've said so far makes sense. Great, 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 great. So it's the same. Hold on, let me see. Cool. So it's the same thing for here. You have the ceiling. Price only respected it 2 times in this example. So I wouldn't consider it a strong ceiling, a strong resistance. Let me actually put that. So I wouldn't consider this a strong resistance because price only respected it 2 times. So it's likely that, okay, if price only respected it 2 times, then there's not good enough, there's not a high resistance against price pushing up against it. So what could potentially happen is price might next time, let's see, decide to break through it instead of rejecting off of it. Now, understand this, that price is not always going to, just because you have a strong support and a strong resistance, and by strong support and strong resistance, what I mean is just because you have price respecting off of that area 3 or more times, doesn't mean that's going to happen forever. Eventually, price will have to break through. So that means what could happen is, if I expand this really quickly, 1 second. Here what could happen is price comes up, maybe it does decide to like respect it or something like that, and come here, respect, and price might eventually be like, you know what, I'm building so much momentum, I'm gonna break through this. And so it finally breaks through. Now, guess what happens? This area here, hold on, let me put this here, let me expand this. This area here no longer is a support. It is actually now a resistance because price is below it. When price is below a form of something that price is deciding to bounce off of, it becomes a resistance. When price is above it, it is a support. So this has become this is called a new resistance. And so as price continues to move, or as you continue to look in the past, so usually there's going to be things happening in the past. So maybe what you would have had is, price doing something like this, something, I don't know, price doing something, something in the past that lines up with price previously, and this area might have a new support, or because it has become the floor. And as I get into showing you actual examples up here, it'll make a lot more sense than my little scribbles. So once again, now I know that I pointed out these areas up here. So I pointed out this area here being a resistance because price is respecting it at least 3 or more times, a strong resistance. And this being a support, because a strong support because price is respecting it 3 or more times. But that doesn't mean it's just between this area and this area. You could find within this area that you have something going on. So let's see here. You got where price came up, it hit, it sold, it hit again, it sold, it went down, came back up, hit here. Even if it's coming from above and coming down up on that area, it helps solidify this zone acting as a strong support or resistance. It still counts. So this 1 counts as a touch, 2 counts as a touch, 3 counts as a touch. This also counts as a touch. Then what happened was it was broken through and we went down and it broke this area here and it continued to sell. So this still acts as a form of support and resistance. Now, the reason why I'm saying it acts as a form of support and resistance, because like I said, if it is a resistance, that means it is below, price is below that area. If it is a support, price is above that area. So in instances of this area right here, this is acting as a support. When it breaks above this zone here, it is acting as a resistance. When it breaks back below this area here and it hits up against it, this zone is acting as a support. Type a 2 in the chat if that's making sense. Two. Cool. Hey, we got some new people on. Shout out to y'all. We got Shay on. We got Ash on. Okay, plug it in. Let's go. So if that makes sense, we're gonna push forward. So once again, when there is a support and resistance, price doesn't just move sideways. So right now, this example is a very sidewaysy example. Price is just kind of consolidating within this zone. And by consolidating, I mean it's just hitting back and forth up against this zone. But as you saw here, price can break through. And it can break through and form a trend, a uptrend or a downtrend. So let's get into trends. So what an uptrend equates to is a bullish trend. What a downtrend equates to is a bearish trend. So bullish means it is overall, a bullish trend means that the price or this pair is buying at the moment. It has an overall buy trend, it's going up. A bearish trend means the price currently is selling. It is forming a sell trend and is going down. So to give you an example of what that looks like, let's go for, first off, a bullish trend. So we go up, down, up, down. So what a bullish trend consists of is higher highs and higher lows. So you're like, okay, well, how can you tell that this is a trend line just from the get-go? Well, if you grab your little handy dandy tool over here that says trend line, and you just go upward, you see that your trend line is going up. And if I just, let me actually just grab my arrow instead so you can see the direction. It is going in the upwards direction. It is going in the upwards direction. This is a trend. And one thing is your trend line can also act as a form of support and resistance in a way, but not the same line, not the same way that a support and resistance, not exactly the same way as support and resistance, because support and resistance is where price is kind of moving from between zone to zone form, but it acts as a support and resistance as price is moving up or down in a certain direction. So if I actually go ahead and redraw all of this, first things first, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a trend line. This might help me explain better. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a price rejecting off of these trend lines. So we can have price going up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So you see here that when price is rejecting off of the trend line also more than 3 times, you can predict that, okay, if it rejects here and rejects here and rejects here, I'm likely predicting that it's going to continue to buy or buy up, because this trend line on this end is acting as a strong form of, I don't want to call it resistance, but I'm going to call it like a support or resistance. So say that the high of the trend line is a resistance and the low of the trend line is a support. That's the way that I personally understand it in my head. So this can also help you predict when to sell in the market and when to buy in the market. Now, to get back to the fundamental of, okay, what is a trend line and what kind of depicts a trend line? A trend line is formed of higher highs and higher lows. So what does that mean? So you have price going up, then down. So first, I'm actually going to do it this way. I'm going to get rid of this. You have price going up, down, up, down, up. Now, it's form of higher highs and higher lows because you see this, you have this low, you have this high. You have this higher low. It is a higher low because it is higher than this previous low here. Drop a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. You have this low, you have this high, and you have this low that is higher than this previous low. Cool, shout out to Chris. We got another new person on. Yes. Let's plug in, family. I'm proud of y'all. So, okay, cool. So then as we continue, you have this high, and this high is actually called a higher high. It is called a higher high because it is higher than this previous high here. Drop a 2 in the chat if that makes sense. And guys, this time I wanna point out that this time is for y'all. I'm here teaching this training, but I'm doing it for y'all. So if anyone does not understand, let me know so that I can further explain it in a different way that may be more beneficial than the way that I'm already explaining it. So cool. But everyone's saying that they're getting it. I think so. Let's see. Is Shay still on? Shay, you getting it? Let me see. I don't know if I saw your name or not. Shay, you understand what's going on here?
I'm listening.
Cool. Does this make sense? I just want to make sure.
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So we got, like I said, we got this low, we got this high, we got this higher low, we got this higher high. That means, all right, somebody tell me, what is this? What is this right here?
Higher low.
Yes, it's a low, but Ash, it's a higher low. It's very important for you to establish that it's not just any low, because it's not on the same level as the previous low. It is a higher low. And it's important to say higher low and higher high, because that's how you establish in your head that it is forming a trend line. So, but yeah, you're right. It is a low, but it's a higher low. And so this one, somebody tell me what this is.
Higher high.
Who? All right, is Dom correct or wrong? Somebody tell me what this is. Somebody else, somebody new.
She's correct.
Y'all are right. Ash and Shay, y'all got it. She's right. Chris says she's right. Cool, cool, cool. Exactly. So we got higher highs and higher lows. Higher highs and higher lows is what establishes and forms a bullish trend. A bullish trend, once again, means that right now the market is buying. It is going in an upwards buying direction. So another way is that sometimes you're not initially going to think in your mind higher highs and higher lows. You might just grab your trend line and just go in the direction that you see price going in. And know that if price is going in an upward direction, it is full of higher highs and higher lows. And it's important to understand this. Another reason why it's important to understand this is because when you develop in your analysis and using different tools, once again, like the Fibonacci, it's important to understand what this is called market structure. This is called market structure. And so you'll have to be able to determine higher highs, higher lows. And when we get into a bearish trend, you will have to be able to determine lower lows and lower highs. Did I say that right? Did I say that right, guys? Lower highs and lower lows. Yes. Okay. So let's go on to a bearish example. So a bearish example we got here. We're going to go down. Let me thicken this real quick, and I'm going to change it red. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go down. I'm going to go up. I'm going to go down. Up. So cool. We have this here. So right here, you have a high. You have a low. Somebody tell me what this is. Just to guess. I haven't told you the answer yet, or maybe I have, but a lower high. Exactly. Is Ash right? Tell me if Ash is right. Somebody else tell me if Ash is right. Exactly. You have a lower high. You have a lower high. And that means, what is this right here? Somebody new, other than Ash, because Ash has been answering the questions. What is this right here, guys?
A lower low.
A lower low, exactly. This is a lower low. So you know that a bearish trend, which means it is selling, is going in a downward trend, is full of lower lows and lower highs. So a lower low and a lower high and a lower low. So this, guys, is market structure. I mean, it's not easy, but it's simple. And I say that it's not easy because when you look at this, my example, this is like kind of an ideal setup, but it's not going to always be this way when you're looking at your actual chart. One thing is, as you develop in your skills of analyzing the market, you'll see that sometimes you really have to train your eyes to see what the market is doing, because sometimes it's not initially easy. Definition of easy: requires no effort. There we go. This requires effort. So it's simple when you start to adjust your eyes and continue to practice. Practice doesn't make perfect, because in my opinion, there's no such thing as perfection, but you can aim to always continue to like develop within yourself and in your learning. So practice will get you to, repetition will give you the results that you want, and that is what you want. That is what's correct. So to repeat, to continue to practice, your eyes will be able to catch on to these different patterns, seeing, okay, automatically this is a bearish trend. Oh, this is a bullish trend. It's full of higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, etc. So let's actually take this to a real chart. Let's see what it looks like other than these little examples here. Let's go and let's look at this way. So right here, you have your harmonic scanner. Now, on your harmonic scanner, on the time frame that it's analyzing on, it's going to go ahead and it's going to pick out some of, I'm not going to say all of, but some of your support and resistance. And the reason why I say that is because that is how it actually forms this pattern. Now, when I look at this pattern, I can't tell you what it is. But when I look to the, either look to the right or look up at the top, oh, never mind, at the top it's not showing. So when I look to the right, it says GBP, JPY, and it says cipher. Cipher is the pattern here. And this pattern forms, and your entries and your take profits and your stop loss is formed because the scanner has scanned the market, formulated this pattern here, and has marked up the support and resistance. That way you can have an entry, have a stop loss, have a take profit. So your support and resistance can actually act as your take profits, your entries, and your stop losses, as I'm repeating or being repetitive about. But so right here, if you just look here at this stop loss, don't pay attention to it saying stop loss or entry. Just look at this green line and this red line. This green line, if price was in this area, this green line, let's look here actually, in this area right here. This green line is acting as a resistance at this moment. And this red line is acting as a support. Drop a 1 in the chat if that's making sense. Just right there. I got 1 1. Got 2 1s. This green line here, cool. I got another one. This green line here is acting as a support, and this red line here is acting as a support, and this green line here is acting as a resistance. Now, what tells you if it is a strong support or a strong resistance? Keyword is strong, because remember, if price is above or below, it's automatically acting as a support and resistance. But what lets you know if price will easily break past it or reject off of it, or another word for reject is respect it, is how many times price has previously hit that area. And once again, exactly how many times it touches the line, exactly. And it must touch at least or suggested 3 or more times. So right here you see price broke through. These candles are wicking off of it, retesting it. It bought a little bit, retesting it, and it sold. It sold to this point. Then it bought. Once again, it rejected or respected this green line, which is acting as a resistance, and it sold a little bit more before buying. Now, one thing that the scanner did not do is mark this area here. Now, for me, this is potentially an area of support and resistance as well. Remember, if you recall my example here, you can have one in between major zones. So this is like a mini one in between, because price also wicked off and rejected off of it before breaking through and buying. So I could go ahead and I can actually put a line here and see that, okay, this is acting as a form of support to this resistance. Price came down, broke through, came up, and then started retesting, rejecting, respecting this area, broke through, came up, bought, came back down, retested this same area, this green entry line, and then bought. It bought off of this support. So another thing to understand about support and resistance is that we trade from zone to zone. So we buy support and sell resistance. So what here is, this is acting as a support now because price broke through. Price is now above this green line, so it's acting as support. Price came down, respected it, bought off of the support. It bought off the support. Then it formulated this new, now you have this support to this new resistance here, and it formulated this area. Now this area currently is just kind of consolidating. I mean, it's going up, it's hitting it, it's going down, it's kind of coming up, and da-da-da, and then finally it breaks through. So this is so when price went above this zone here, it became a support to this resistance. So let's do this again. This is a support now, and this is a resistance. But when price came above this, broke above this resistance, this became the new support to this resistance. Drop a 2 in the chat if that makes sense. I need some more 2s. I need some 2s from other people.
Can you repeat what you just said?
Yes, I can. Thank you for asking. So basically what I was going over is the support and the resistance. So this, if we just start from the beginning, if we just start at this stop loss here, but don't pay attention to it to be a stop loss. If we just start from this red line here, this right here is acting as a support because price is above it. We're just focusing on this area here, and we're going to move up. And as we move up, this becomes an old support because price breaks through this resistance. Now this resistance becomes a new support. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. So because this becomes a new support, this means that this becomes a new resistance. And as price breaks through this resistance, it becomes the new support, and this becomes the new resistance. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. So now that we see that, let's look here. We got this going on right here. I'm like, all right, cool. I see this area rejecting. You know, I'll draw like a line or something. So this is going more into the analysis. I don't want to get deep into that. There's an advanced training later in the week that I'll host that's going to get further into that. But you can see that once again, we buy off support, sell off resistance. We buy support, sell resistance. Buy support, sell resistance. So price broke above here, retested this support, it bought up. It respected this resistance, it sold. Do y'all see that? Tell me y'all see that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Cool. So remember, you buy support.
Okay. Sorry.
No worries. You buy support and you sell resistance. Once again, price came down. This became a support. It rejected. It bought off of it. It sold once again. Actually, it broke through and it actually sold against this TP3 right here, which acted as a resistance. Price came through. It retested it. This blue candle, this bullish candle here. So the blue candles are buy candles, which is another name for buy candles is bullish candles. The red candles are sell candles, and another name for sell candles is bearish candles. So you can see where price broke through. It hit this resistance. It sold. It bought up against this resistance here. Then it continued to sell all the way back down to entry. So as you can see, once again, when it comes to support and resistance, you buy support, sell resistance. But not every time, guys. It takes more analysis than that. It takes understanding, okay, all right, this is a support and resistance, but how strong, once again, how strong is this support and resistance? What else is this pair telling me? So you can look at the trend. The trend is your friend. So if we go on a higher time frame and you look at the trend, let's see, if we look at like the 4 hour, and we're looking at that the overall trend on the 4 hour. So let's look here. So we see that the trend, once again, a bearish trend. I'm not even going to say, okay, I just see price going from here to here, from high to low. So I'm just going to grab my trend line, go from here and then down. I'm like, okay, obviously this must be a bearish trend right here from this point to this point. So right now, currently, price is having a bearish momentum. Now, another thing that I see on a short trend is here. On this end, from here to here, price is going up. So I'm like, okay, well, overall, on this from here to here, price is going down. Over here, price is going up. This is kind of where it gets into where, all right, I can't use this as exactly yet as a knowing or a telling of if I can get into this or not. Why? Because it depends on how many times or how strong this trend line is. How many times his price respected this trend line to know that, okay, I can sell off of this trend or buy off of this trend. Now, once again, I'm getting into analysis, and I'm sorry, it's kind of hard for me to not do that. But as you can see here, price came up, it hit this trend, and it sold. It hit this trend here, it bought. It hit this trend line again, it sold. And so what we would look for is potentially, okay, will it sell off of it again, or will it break through and continue to buy? So, you know, there's different analysis that goes into understanding, that goes into further more than just understanding support, resistance, and trend line. It's understanding how to use your support, resistance, trend line, how to think about it. What does it tell you? How many times is price respecting off of it? But before you can get into that, you must understand and practice and train your eyes to see support and resistance and trend lines first. And once you see them, recognize them, then you can go into actually understanding and applying strategies to your support and resistance. Drop a 3 in the chat if that makes sense. Cool. Great. Well, guys, I want to keep this short, not short, but I want to keep it simple because this is just supposed to be an intro. But if you have any questions, once again, my name is Niquana. I'm in Opulence, or the leader of Opulence. I'm one of the leaders in New Wave. So feel free if you have any questions to ask me. Further in the week, we're actually going to do an advanced version of this, where we're taking our support and resistance and trend lines and now implementing it with strategies, marking up all those different support and resistance, going from higher time frames, lower time frames, understanding, okay, what does it mean to first mark up a support and resistance on a higher time frame compared to a lower time frame? Okay, once I have that marked up, how do I actually tell when to get in or where to get in at? Things like that. So definitely tune in and plug into the advanced one if you feel comfortable to do so. I know that some of y'all are new that is on this call. So, you know, maybe hop on just to get a feel of what's going on or the terminology, but don't feel overwhelmed. It's okay if you don't understand right away. This is a process. So guys, I'm actually going to conclude this. But before I do, does anyone have any questions or want me to go over anything? Because we still have time before the 5 o'clock training happening. Nah. Thanks, Dom. So everyone's good. Repetition is key. Yep. Reese's right. Repetition is key. You have to continue to practice. Always a student. Yes, ma'am. All right. Well, I didn't get Awesome, awesome, awesome. I didn't get any questions then, so I'm actually going to end this call. I appreciate everybody for hopping on. Let's run the bag up. I mean, we're already up with it, you know, from back to the lessons. Shout out to Ash for plugging into her. She's been on it, like, guys. Ash, I gotta shout Ash out because she's definitely been on it. But shout out to all of y'all though for plugging in. But guys, it's only Monday and we're up like 400 and something pips right now. For those who are able to catch that, I only caught 50 out of it, but that is okay because this is just showing how our week is already going to go. Like this is going to be a blessed week, guys. So let's make sure that we're continuing to plug into the trainings. Let's continue to plug into the new wave trade ideas. And let's show out and let's ask questions. This is a family environment. I want everybody to feel welcomed and feel comfortable with asking questions to your leaders within the group chats, all the things. So I appreciate y'all once again, and y'all have a blessed day and a blessed week. Black Lives Matter.